What's up, everybody? Welcome to Thursday night gig worker rodeo roundtable. Glad everybody could join us. We got Kim's side money plans. We got Nick, dashing felon. I think a lot of you guys know him. If you don't, you will after tonight.
Hey.
And we got Cheyenne somewhere. I think she's trying to find the right studio. She was here and she disappeared. And then we all got to talking about how there's been some internet issues for all of us anyway that have just been odd, and we won't dive into that. But it's if any of you guys are having it, just put a thumbs up. We don't need to get into all the details. If you've been having cell or internet issues that are completely weird this week, let us just give a thumbs up or a thumbs down if like, nope, haven't noticed anything. But also, before we get in too far, and before anything else, I do want to give a big shout out to Gary's big toe. I hope it's getting better.
What happened?
You know, so I asked him to tell me the story, and he told me, and it made no sense at all. So I was like, dude, you need to, when you're better, you need to videotape that slowly and show me how that even works, because I don't believe that could happen. But like, he showed me his foot. So his foot was all like black and blue. And I've taken, all the mountain safety stuff and stuff I've done. Like, I wasn't evaluating it for him, but I could tell it was pretty bad. Like, it was, because I was like, what'd you kick? Because it looked more than a kick. It was black and blue. I was worried that the nail would come off. I've had that happen one time. It's horrible. But it was really bad. And it was into his foot. And he's like, look at this. And I'm like, well, what happened? He explained it. He said he was going between something narrow. So he was walking like heel to toe. And like, imagine putting your left foot down and then taking your right foot and stomping on your toe as hard as you can. So he didn't even kick anything. He like stepped on his own toe. And my thing was, you would need to see it. Just think of a really bad toe, like bruise. And I just don't think that, I mean, without steel-soled boots or something, I don't see how you could like make that much damage. It was bad. And I was like, there's no way you can step on your own foot that hard.
That's terrible.
I need it reenacted.
I broke a toe once and it was not pleasant. So I feel for him.
Right, but you probably did you kick something?
Yes.
I mean, even if accident. Yeah, because it's usually kicking something.
I was a dumb you-know-what. So I was going away the very next day. So I had my suitcase out, and of course they have wheels. And I got up in the middle of the night to use the facilities and forgot that suitcase was there. And I tripped over the suitcase and completely just stepped. Well, I broke my toe. It was so bad. So I went my first day of vacation. I had a broken toe.
What's up, Red, and the rest of the chat?
Yeah, I'm going to get to that right now. We're going to say hi to the chats. Hopefully we got them all here in the StreamYard. And I was doing some testing, so hey, Christopher Taylor, I see you threw a couple of membership gifts out. Again, guys, it's such a weird thing. Thank you very much, by the way, Christopher. But we have to like go into our own chats to see where those were done. So sometimes we just generally thank you for them, and then it's after the fact that we find out where it came from, because it's like here in StreamYard, there's a lot of things that StreamYard seems like they could fix pretty easy. I just have to say that. I love StreamYard, but there's some things that don't seem like they'd be that difficult to do. So that's all I'll say about it. We'll leave it at that. But Nick, how you doing? Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself for those that don't know you? And then I'm going to say hi to the chat. So we'll give them a minute to get restless.
Yeah, I'm the Dashing Felon. I have a YouTube channel. It's small, just growing, and I call myself that because I did 5 years in prison. And when I got out, I had a hard time finding a good paying job, and Doordash actually let me on first, and then other gig apps slowly to follow. And now I'm on a bunch of them, and that's my main work. And now I'm going, and I got like goals for the future. I'm off parole and I'm doing well with my life, and I owe that to gig work. So now I try to educate people, because I feel like I have a way of thinking about these apps that are different than others.
Do you think that I fully understand the challenge that you're having? In fact, it's one of the articles we're going to talk about tonight, but Do you think that doing the gig work is helping you in terms of maybe you have no plan of doing it. I get it. Oh, wait. Maybe there you are. Maybe you have no plan of ever doing this, but maybe like if you wanted to, do you think that it's helping you to do the gig work to have, like, how will that help you with some of the issues that you were facing because of the time you did to get a job? Do you think, I guess I'm trying to get out there, like, just while we're on this, does it help your resume? Because I think a lot of us need to think about that. Like, how do we want
I'm
to
able
word
to
this?
finance myself while I go and educate myself and do the things I need to do do the career path that I want to go. Like, this isn't my end goal. This is like
Right. That's
way
what
to
I kind of was
finance it.
getting at. Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to be a lawyer. I found out how to do it in California, and you can be a felon and become a lawyer, and you don't even have to do law school. So I'm trying to do this like law office study program thing, and while I do that, and do the minor college education, you have to do like the AA program basically worth of it, or you can clep out. I'm looking at both options, but while I do that, I'm using gig work to fund my life,
Well, no. So, I mean, you actually just answered my question. So the way you're doing it is you're taking some classes. That's showing you're kind of like making a new record for yourself while you're able to pay for things with gig work. I guess what I was putting out there was everybody doing gig work. And I'm not saying we're all going to need a W-2 tomorrow, but if you want to put together a resume, what does it look like? I guess I'm just curious what it looks like for everybody for the past few years if you've been full-time.
Yeah.
Because
I
would say get clever about it if you're ever thinking about it, or start thinking about it, at least what you would put. Because
if I were someone, I would put that you owned a business, a courier business.
Yeah, something like that. Get creative.
And I put that. I've owned businesses on every single resume I've ever put in. I've never actually physically on paper owned a business, but I did repair computers as a trade, and I did do this right. And I put that on my resume. And when I explained myself, I told them exactly what I did, and they were more impressed than if I like had lied about it or whatever. So that's what I would do.
Of course. It wasn't really even geared towards anything to do with jail. It was geared towards people who have been full-time in the gig economy.
Exactly.
For years.
That's a big block of your resume.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, like, if you just say that, people won't like that. I'm just going to be, at least in my opinion, I don't think people would, not every employer is going to be so sympathetic. They're going to go, what have you been doing for 4 years? Rideshare. Mm-hmm. And I would just, maybe get clever about how you word it. I've been running my own business. I have a car service. Even that, where you're not lying, just make it not Uber or Lyft.
I have a courier service where I utilize several different apps to get different bids on different jobs. That's what you say.
Yeah. Or I'm a business owner. I mean, this is how the company's classified. I'm just pointing it out. If that helps anybody, great. Yeah, exactly. It wasn't a big thing, but hi, Cheyenne.
Hi. Finally working. I can hear.
Okay, awesome. So I'm gonna say hi to the chat here. Christopher, how you doing, traveler? What's up? Hold on, these were a couple of my testings. What's up, Carnifage? Hi, Gigan, how are you? Becky Harris. Hi, Ellen. Hi, Sheila. Thomas Mathis. And Thomas, it was a few weeks ago I noticed that you took your avatar down. And at first, I didn't think it was you, even with the wrenches. I was like, what is this? I thought it was somebody goofing around with all that. But I do know it's you now. So what's up, Bubba Sue? How are you? And Eric Berry. I hope I'm not missing it. Kevin Hawthorne in Florida. How are you? Josh, what's up? Swiftly 13. Ivanaska. Red, how are you? Anthony Terry, how are you? Jason, how are you? Just kidding.
Ooh, thanks, Christopher Taylor.
And thank you, Thomas and Anthony.
Yeah. So I gotta say, this is just through chat, this is Kim's third night with Jason in a row.
I've had a fun week, and that's not sarcastic. That was
Right.
actually truthful.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, if you guys missed either of them, if you missed Kim's on Tuesday or if you missed Gig Economy podcast last night, watch them both because and not just Kim. I mean, as always, Gig Economy podcast does their thing, but Kim was in rare form on all those. I think it was because of Larry and Jason a little bit, but the stories were weird. Like it was cool. It was cool.
It was an interesting 2-night event. I'll say that we got in some topics that I normally wouldn't have got into, but it's all good.
That should intrigue all of you. Go watch them. Hey, Joe, how are you? And Scrabble, how are you doing? And Mary, how are you? And I think I'm caught up. Jason's like, ouch, laughing out loud. I mean, Jason, you do that every week, so don't. Like, that's normal for you, but it was cool. But I'm gonna shut the comments down so that we can focus, so I can focus on what I'm doing here, because these guys got the comments. So, okay, so I broke these into 3 topics together tonight. So the first one is Doordash tipping, violating the Fair Chance Act. And driver hit by car. Weird topics, I know, but watch. We're gonna roll through this. So first of all, there's about 10 articles out. I mean, if you Google news Doordash today or yesterday, you'll see a lot of articles in all publications about Doordash rejecting applicants with criminal histories. So this is about New York, but there's one stat that changes, and it's kind of weird. It's like 50, like I probably looked at 7 or 8 articles, and it was like 3 of them said one thing, 4 of them said the other. I mean, the same stats on 4, the same stats on 3, and here's where it differed. So basically, there is a law that in New York, and in 2022, we'll just use the 2022, there were 3,000 New York delivery worker applications who, due to their criminal histories, without even being considered the applicant's age or anything else of the crime being committed, time elapsed since the offense, effort of the rehabilitation, they were denied just period for having a criminal offense. And here's where the articles differs on the penalty. So you can find 3, half the articles say Doordash has resolved the case by paying a $75,000 penalty. That's nothing. That's keep the change on a dollar kind of tip. I mean, that's nothing to them. But there's half of the articles say 75,000 per person who was rejected automatically. So it's kind of weird. That's a big difference. And and it's kind of weird because I'll tell you guys, the one article I'm looking at that says a total 75,000 is from Market Watch right now. They're usually pretty on it with their numbers. That is one thing that even if the wording isn't great, numbers usually add up to, but there's a lot that conflict with it. But regardless, there is the Fair Chance Act, which I guess I wasn't even really that aware of this. I don't know what state, I am gonna have to look into my state and see what we have about this. Not that I care, I just should know about this because they can't. Let me see if I can just find its definition here. So the law is very clear on the rights that all New Yorkers, including those with criminal histories, have when it comes to pursuing job opportunities. DoorDash ignored New York laws, discriminated against hardworking people, and denied thousands of New Yorkers the opportunity to provide for their families without fair consideration for their individual histories. People deserve a second chance and the ability to earn a living and succeed.
Oh, that's why. It's because the Fair Chance Act prohibits employers from inquiring before hiring or before making the offer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, crazy. but that's my point. So if they can't look before, they're allowed to look after. They have to make you an offer and then go, oh, now I can unseal the envelope and see. Then what? Can they pull the offer?
But then why even do a background check?
Yeah, exactly.
They're saying they're not even allowed to do a background check before hiring and making their hiring decision, basically.
Yeah, it says if an employer decides to withdraw an offer due to a criminal record, here it is, they must provide a fair chance notice, any background check information and allow the applicant 5 business days to respond. Employers must share the criminal record information they used, whether from a consumer reporting agency, public records, or an internet search. Really?
An internet search?
Yeah, and right there is what got me big time. I'm glad you said that way, because that made me think, man, that just allows you to profile.
Like, seriously.
I mean, you can
Anybody
be like, I don't
profile
like
any one of
I don't
us
like these
because-
type of people, or and again,
Or someone
we are
said
talking
this
about
guy did
we are
this.
talking about people who pay taxes in this country. Like, you should be giving the
Exactly.
I mean, if that's their law, they should have to live up to that law. I mean, I
But
don't
as
know.
Nick said, anybody can put anything online and say that someone did something when they didn't really do it.
Right. Could they go to Shania'sMadeUpLaws.com and that be their source? Do you see what I'm saying?
That's
Like,
crazy.
to me, it is crazy, because it's, when I saw that, like, it's like, I even was thrown at all of it. Like, what was the other one too that I said? So they can go to any consumer reporting agency, really? Public records? See, I would think it would have to be public records that are state approved, because then the last one says, or an internet search. So like Google counts?
So, but then that would put the person. So basically, the person's in a position of they have to fight it. That's what the law is basically written. Like, that's putting the driver in a position that they have a 5-day period to fight it, and so that sucks. It's
Right,
like
but then in lies my.
you could fight
so,
some
like, let's
baseless
say that some,
allegation. You can't prove an untruth. It's like you can't prove something not true if it's just some made up bullshit necessarily.
right. But
That
I'm
they
saying,
found on the
like, let's
internet.
say
Exactly
that
like
let's
you're
say that I
saying.
like somebody.
I'm expanding on what you're saying. Yeah.
Right. Let's say that I like Nick and I want to hire Nick. And I decide, dude, he was a great applicant. I like him. I'm hiring Nick. And now I open the thing after I've decided that, or I get on the internet, and even through a legit source, I find something that says he did something, and I still decide to hire him. But now, after I've seen that, does that allow me to just write him a letter and go, hey, I pulled this, you don't get the job? Like, what becomes the standard for, like, okay, I should probably hire a lawyer because this seems like you did it after the fact?
No.
I don't know. It just, to me, it's weird that they have a thing called the Fair Chance Act. I just didn't even know about it, but it's weird they have it, and it actually makes it less fair.
So yeah, if you were being the employer, you'd have to notify me, and then I'd have 5 days to respond.
With what though?
And I
don't
could
agree.
try to fight it. Yeah, I disagree
I'm a better
too. Yeah.
person than that record makes me look like. Oh, okay, then you're hired. Like,
But when we're talking DoorDash, how do you get a hold of somebody in DoorDash to fight?
Exactly. So that's why they're getting sued.
yeah, that's
I'm
but
just
see,
saying.
that's why I'm saying too, the amount difference is huge. Because if it's 75,000 per person, and it still won't make a big dent. If it's 75 per each of the 3,000, that's okay.
Yeah.
That if that money's going to them, good, because they deserve that for that kind of crap being pulled on them by this sketchy algorithm company. But if it's $75,000 fine to New York that they paid, that's nothing. That's a parking ticket to them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know.
That
I just
just
thought
seems
I thought it was
unfair.
very weird. Because I didn't even know they did that kind of thing. Like, it's like, so, okay. So you like, how does that fit in with DoorDash? Nobody's ever seeing you and deciding, yeah, I want to hire you. You're just a number in an algorithm.
It's all an
So-
automatic
So it's like,
system,
how are you
right?
being sued for this? You did run the checker. I mean, to me, the only way it would make sense is if they understand Checker is a horrible background check system.
Hmm.
It's the only
They
way
must
that
have
this
some
will-
sort of level of human review, because unlike Uber, which seems to just go off of Checker, because I had to consider, and my background did come up on DoorDash, his background check, and they still let it through because it was like white collar crime stuff, and it was like petty looking enough,
Yeah, I don't know.
So-
No, I don't know, because I'm very confused by this. Actually, I'm really
So-
confused by it.
DoorDash does have some level of human review to their background checks. I do know that for a fact.
Yeah.
At least in California.
And
but then can you actually reach them as to what Kim said? Like if they do have a human that's checking the background, because I know Uber.
I was just
So
going to say,
Uber
you
has someone
can
because I
you
spoke with
reach them
someone.
regardless?
You
Diana,
have
can
to
we reach them right
dispute
now
it through
before the end of the
checker.
show?
Okay.
Anything on a background check, you have to dispute it via checker. I know that because I
Okay.
have to dispute my background checks because things fall off too. Because in California, they can't have anything after 7 years after conviction. So like my things are all falling off. So Uber still was using my old background check, and I had to get them to try to use the new
Do a
one.
new one.
And they won't look at the new one. They just keep on going off the old, and they're fucking pulling some illegal shit. It's crazy.
Yeah, and
That's
everybody can
great.
go to Checkers website. I hope everybody knows that. You can go to Checkers website and pull your own.
Yeah.
Especially if these companies have pulled them, you already have one. So I mean, they've already got one on you that's up to date.
And then if there's something wrong on there, you can dispute it,
So
and you can
Kim,
dispute things anyway.
I want to see Kim's reaction to this. So Kim, you're just hearing the news, and this is on the news story today because this really got under my skin. So here's the news title. Here's the pitch. DoorDash urges customers to tip their drivers or face the consequences. Again, DoorDash does. So what it goes on to say is DoorDash has a message for non-tippers. The delivery app is warning customers that not leaving a tip could lead to a longer wait time. The app now displays a reminder pop-up for anyone who does not add a tip to the order, telling them it might take longer to be delivered. I need to pause there because it gets a little worse here, but I need to pause and say in New York, not only is that not true, you have to go in after the fact and find how to tip.
Yeah.
So they did the opposite. So that's just BS. But then get this. This is the paragraph that I don't think you're going to agree with, Kim. The company says its drivers have full freedom to prioritize orders that include a tip and those that don't. The ones without a tip aren't desirable, the company said, and may take longer to be picked up by restaurants. Drivers can reject an order altogether if there isn't a tip. There is nothing about they have tiers. This is not true.
That equals
It's
to
technically
don't
true.
ask. You didn't ask me, so I didn't answer that question. This is I answered that one,
But it's
but not that
completely
one.
untrue, though.
But I feel like this is old news.
It's
They did
misleading, but
like
it's technically true.
This is news from today.
You
I
can't
know,
get
but
it
this was rolled out
deactivated for
months
0 AR.
ago. Like this was a whole big to do. Like I feel like this news
Yes.
story, like they're late to the game because this was rolled out 6 months ago, 7 months ago.
Yes.
And
We
I feel
spoke
like
about
this
this, yeah.
whoever wrote this is late to the game because
Well, this is
it
a
was
quote.
all-
This is a quote from DoorDash yesterday. Here, listen to this. Every day, Dashers go the extra mile to help connect consumers with the best of local communities. That's why we encourage customers to show their appreciation by tipping.
I'm glad they're telling
I'm
customers to
pretty
tip.
sure. I feel good in the comments saying this that they don't encourage you to tip at all.
I said this when this got rolled out before. People are going to do what they want to do because they want to do it. So
Exactly.
if they don't want to tip, they're not going to tip. If they want to tip, they're going to tip. Like there's nothing that DoorDash is going to put in front of a customer's face that's going to make them change their mind. I'm going to tip this driver or not tip this driver. Like it's up to the individual person what decision they want to make. And I feel like sometimes it has the reverse effect. Like, fine, if you're going to put that down, then fine. I definitely won't tip. Like, I feel like it has the adverse effect. Like, I feel like
But there could also be that customer that has a moral thing, like they don't want to tip until after the service, right? So then they put this message in front of this customer, so then they know like, oh, maybe if you put a little tip right now and then you actually tip a full tip afterwards, you know what I mean, you get your stuff a little faster, right? And then we'd actually get those orders instead of declining them automatically because we're not going to hope on that tip. Because right now we don't see those extra orders for those people that are morally inclined that they don't tip until after because we just decline them.
Well, it's already this is being rolled out in 5 cities right now. And there is a thing that comes up if you don't tip, and it's a screenshot comes up. And what it says is orders with no tip might take longer to get delivered. Are you sure you want to continue? And then it says Dashers can pick and choose which orders they want to do. Orders that take longer to be accepted by Dashers tend to result in slower delivery. And it's in the app for customer side, and it has a big red add a tip.
But this is the same thing that they did, as Kim
Months
said,
ago.
6 months ago.
But
So
I don't.
it's only in
Okay, but I don't.
five-
I have never even
five states?
heard of anybody telling me they've actually seen this. Though is what I'm pointing out. There's
I
nothing
don't know
that comes
because
up
I've
as
never
Yeah, there's
gone
in my
to
area, but I'm not sure.
It was
But-
news
okay.
articles that we
But-
mentioned.
I could check
I'm
right
just
now,
gonna play
actually.
devil's advocate just for 1/2 a second. So there was one time I went into a restaurant and I was waiting for a while, and there was an older lady waiting and she was picking up her order, and we got talking because she thought it was cool I was a delivery driver. So she's just like, oh, and she's just like, she got talking, somehow we got into the conversation that she doesn't tip until the order reaches her door because she is old school and she thinks that if she gives a cash tip, it won't get taxed because like she's physically handing the cash to somebody. So the government won't take a piece of the money. So that's why she does the cash tip. And I said, well, just be careful because the way that the systems work is, it comes across as no tip to the driver. So they have a chance that you're not going to get it quickly. And she goes, I've never been delayed ever on getting my order. So she was still getting, regardless of not tipping, like she's still getting her orders timely. So I don't know how effective
It's a PR thing.
Right. That's
Yeah.
kind of my point.
That's all
But-
it is.
But it does go into a recent survey that was done by SurveyMonkey. Now, a lot of times we talk about these surveys. The ones through SurveyMonkey are actually done. It was done with 1,020 people. Vacationer magazine says that more than 50% of Americans are okay not tipping food delivery drivers.
That's a lot. More than 50%.
I mean, I'll say like that's kind of I see it. I think we all see it in the app. Like, why aren't they tipping? Like, I'm not shocked by that number, to be honest. I mean, I am. I think it's disgusting.
I feel like
But-
I see more no tippers in grocery deliveries and grocery shopping than I do in food delivery.
So here's the other part of it, though, too. 49% of the same survey respondents said that they tipped delivery drivers. 53% said they always tip dine-in wait staff at restaurants, and 53 also said that they tip bartenders. Like, this is bad, you guys. Like, I feel like when I grew up, like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like this study would have said 90%.
53% tip dine-in and like, come
Waitresses
on.
and bartenders. Like, I gotta say, I was a bartender for 20 years. Almost everybody tipped me. Nobody stiffed me.
Yeah,
If
that's
they did, it was an
crazy.
accident. Sometimes they came in the next day and they're like, dude, I was so hammered last night. Sorry, here's $30. Like,
I'm not
and they'd be like, do I owe you money? Did I leave a tab? Or
I'm not condoning it, but did they say like it could be because of like the economy, recession, like did they say
well, here's some tweets from it. Here's like, and these are people who tweeted on this. DoorDash's new tip system just shows why tipping is a ridiculous way to pay employees. Just pay your workers. Again, somebody thinking that we're employees. And these are tweets. DoorDash, Uber Eats, Instacart, Postmates. These are all luxury services. You are paying a higher rate and expected to tip because you are getting a service designed for convenience. You are making a human being be at your beck and call for pennies. The least you can do is to tip. Another one. No, hold on. Two more. No, not wanting to tip DoorDash drivers and still wanting fast service is actually insane. You deserve cold food every single time. Another one. Being required to tip before the service is rendered is backward. And DoorDash plus all the other businesses needs to pay people more. So tips are a bonus and not required for them to stay afloat.
I still think there's a concept out there, a knowledge out there, something that a lot of customers think that this is a job, like we're employed by these companies. It's in a job. And I can't tell you how many comments I got on that one big TikTok about, well, it's your job. You should just go up those stairs. Like, it's called Doordash. That's why it should go to your door. Like, people were just, there was a lot of people that were making comments that it's your job. Just do it. And I'm like, no. Like,
But it's not.
like, I think there's a lot of people under that concept that were employed by these people, because I think that's the only thing they know.
So if it
They
was
don't
door
understand
throw,
independent
if it was door throw, we could throw everything at their door. Like, from like the third story, and you're like 102, it's going to 302, 202. All right, man. And then be like, all right, your food's probably there. I don't know. Close.
That would be crazy.
I don't know. I just, again, I saw it in one of Jason's thumbnails. I thought it was this week, Gig Economy podcast. And I don't know if you guys even really got into it, but he said something in there that I've been saying for years. Kim knows this. Cheyenne knows, most of you guys probably know this, but I honestly believe that because it is upfront and coming from the service industry like I have, that it should be a bid for service. And I think there's multiple ways to make that happen, but it needs to be retermed, because even to Shania, that would apply better, because she says, yes, there's tipping up there, but we also know it's not, I mean, it's not as good as here. And like the UK isn't, and a lot of places in the world just don't tip.
Yeah.
So
I think
We have a
we're the
lot
one
of
that does.
Europeans here, and they're not big on tipping, right? So
Yeah, they
Right,
don't-
but
I
I
think
mean,
this
call it
is
a
a-
bid for service then.
Just real quick, I think this is a very good point. The tipping culture has stayed the same 20% for decades without even a raise. Mhm.
Wait, 20%.
Like,
I
it's the
tip
standard.
around
somebody
15,
stands like just a-
20%.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
the industry
okay.
standard. Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, I tip a little higher for good service, but that's me. I don't know. I don't ever feel like I'm doing it to make up for people that don't either. I just feel like I've always, maybe it's just because I was in that industry. I don't know. But it's weird. I mean, it should just be that make it a bid for service, because I guess my point is I can see where they're wrong, but I can see where people would be like, I don't want to tip you up front. Why don't? And especially those who have had horrible service.
yeah,
Yeah.
You know, like it's
So-
sad, because I feel like there's a lot of horrible service out there now. So on top of a bad economy, you might have had somebody who's like, man, I am spending out the rear for this. I usually tip you guys, but the last 2 times you've just thrown it on on the ground. And you know what? I'm not tipping anymore.
I
kind of spoke about this.
Not
Sorry.
tip fatigue, which is different. I'm talking about tip pissed offness.
So I kind of spoke about this when I went out, because I actually went out last week. And 2 of my orders, after I dropped them off, and I always send my message at the end, like, your order's at your door, thank you for the tip, blah, blah, blah. They both increased their tip. And one person was like, oh my God, you're so amazing. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. And I'm like, I wonder if they increased the tip just because I did, the message afterwards, or are they just used to having horrible service lately? Because I've seen, like, there's this one house here, they get delivery multiple times a week. And I see the drivers, they just come, they leave it at the door, they take their picture, and like, they don't even rest it down. They just like put it at the door. So I think there's a lot of drivers out there also that just aren't giving good quality. So the customers they're annoyed. They're like, why am I going to tip you so well if you're going to treat my food or my groceries or whatever like this?
Or they dirty multi-app and lollygags.
That too.
It's funny because you get to, if you've been doing this for a while, which I think we all have been doing this for a while, you get to see the same customers and their
Yes.
tipping patterns. And especially when the large order program was a large order program, you saw the same people over and over again. And I always found it interesting. Like, you would go to the door and you're like, yes, this is going to be like an awesome order. And then all of a sudden you get there and you're like, what the heck happened? And I'm like, they just probably had bad service from another driver and ruined it for the rest of us.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then
It's
so
so
I
true.
see Chad here saying, I agree, more non-tippers on grocery. Well, that's gonna be solved because Amazon, I mean, first of all, you get Spark's going through some changes, but Amazon's gonna rip this place apart because there is no tipping on Amazon, and they're gonna have every grocery chain. So
But I think
Look
also
out.
the reason why you're
no.
seeing that is that there's more people now that, like, before, when it came to grocery shopping, it wasn't every single customer that was doing it because they didn't know about it. But now all of these companies are doing so much promo on it. Everybody is now ordering groceries on Uber and DoorDash. So now you're seeing those people that maybe normally wouldn't tip on food delivery. They're also now ordering groceries and they're not tipping. And also, it doesn't help the fact that they're putting out so many promos that now customers, they're reaching a different demographic of customers. Like, I feel like whenever you put out a lot of promos, that's a different kind of customer that you're trying to get to.
Absolutely.
And that customer is not going to tip.
Right. I mean, and look at, I mean, who are they? And again, I didn't say this. I got my hands up. Anthony did, but I happen to agree with him.
It's true though.
So true.
But yeah, I mean, I agree. I also think if you look, like, where are they fighting most for the space with SNAP benefits? We know, I mean, there's no tips there.
No.
So, I mean, like, why are they fighting for why are they going, it's always that, we always talk about honeymoon and the pay, but why are they like going quickly to the bottom for what they're feeding on too? I think a lot of it is that Kroger and refrigeration trucks and Walmart's growing, and Amazon's going to be stepping in. Amazon has the biggest database of customers in the world. They make Ubers look like a joke. You can put all the apps together. They don't have the database Amazon does.
Yeah. Well, they're trying to go for the masses, right? So they're the bottom of the funnel is the biggest category that's there. They're not trying to go for, the people that make like a whole bunch and that's going to, really good neighborhoods and all that kind of stuff. That's a smaller funnel.
Yeah, they want everybody.
So Mary's saying that the Amazon tips are, amazing. Kim and I sit in a weird boat because both of us have been waiting. I've been since
freaking Amazon. And it's funny because I see new drivers like delivering Amazon all the time. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? I've been on it for 2 years and I see new drivers all the time delivering packages. I get so mad whenever I see someone delivering Amazon packages.
2 years, 6 months for me now. December 2021.
Can you try to reapply?
No, that's what I got
under 3
I was
different
told,
emails.
sorry, we have too many. We'll get you on soon. Well, what the hell is soon? Because 30 months isn't soon to me.
It's not.
Oh, what's up, worldwide?
I mean, I don't know, man. But then the last one on DoorDash before we move a little forward here, I got to say this. This is kind of weird. I'm interested to hear everybody's take on this because we were talking about the customer service. So here we go. Woman says her DoorDash driver got hit by a car while delivering her order. Then DoorDash charged her for it. So, okay, this lady orders 2 bottles of wine, right? And the dasher was waiting outside for her to come down and get it. And he messaged her and said that he got hit. Now, I know I'm not laughing at, if he really got hit and all this, I'm not laughing and being like mean. It's just, it gets kind of funny here. Like, so she goes downstairs and she sees 2 empty broken bottles of wine on the ground, a bag, and there's no cars there. So he got hit, but he left. And so then she calls, she wants a refund. Because all she saw was the broken glass. She has a TikTok channel. I think she went kind of viral on this, not mega, but kind of. She said, long story short, I did not get a refund. I checked today and they said I was not getting a refund. I called 5 times, spoke to several service people, some who were very nice and some who were very mean. I hung up twice. She says she was told she wouldn't be getting a full refund or getting a refund. Instead, she says she found out she would have to pay $25 undeliverable fee. So the company's reason for undeliverable fee is for people who are underage or too intoxicated to receive a delivery.
That's get a fee?
Yeah, you get a fee. So if you call, if I'm a kid and I call it out, and they take the liquor back, they're going to refund you the money for the liquor, obviously, because that doesn't just go to the DoorDasher. He has to, they're supposed to take it back to the store. But DoorDash charges you for wasting everybody's time.
I didn't know that.
I mean, I'm not, again, guys, this might be even something I'm not even, you know me, I usually disagree with everything that company does, but I'm not even saying I do. I mean, because otherwise you'd have everybody trying at least.
That's really good.
But not here. So she gets the undeliverable fee. And so she has to pay for the $30 in liquor and the undeliverable fee of $25. And she keeps calling.
I'm all for it.
But wait, so
she should have made her.
Wait, Felon, do you do?
She should have made her driver right. Wait,
Felon, do you do alcohol delivery?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on alcohol delivery? We all know
I
what
hate.
our thoughts are.
I mean, I like them, but I don't at the same time because I got to scan the ID because it's always handed to me. You got to track down customer and get their ID. All that bullshit.
And Kim, Jersey man. Yes, I had Kim too.
But yeah,
Jersey man and I have been chatting.
What's up, Jersey man?
What's up?
But yeah, that's what I feel about it.
Well, we're gonna get into that too because you guys know how I like. You know, A, how I feel, but B, law too. And we're gonna get into that right here because so after this, she actually gets through to somebody. She's refunded $2 after the 55 are taken out of her account total. And when I noticed this about 10 days later, she followed up. She said the first customer service person said there was nothing they could do, hung up on her. Second customer service she spoke to said they could give her only $3. So they took the 2 and added 1 to it. That's not a new $3. That's adding $1 to it. The fourth DoorDash support person finally concluded it was DoorDash's fault that this had happened due to miscommunication between Dasher support and customer support. And she gave me $10 of DoorDash credit because she felt bad, but that was the most she could do. So again, there's a limit. There's a limit on on first tier, and we should know that anyway, but she said it. Every once in a while you get somebody who just says it. They probably get scolded for it after the call. And then, so now at this point she's been refunded, or it must have been a new 3 because she's been refunded $2, $3, and $10. So she's been refunded a total of $15 after talking to 5 to 6 support agents and wrongfully being charged 30 plus 25. So she got 15 back on 55. And she took pictures of the broken bottles. It was, and again, it was within time too. Like this was in real time. So she didn't go upstairs and like booze these things down, come outside and slam them, try and blame it on the Dasher. Like she came out, she took the pictures right away and she's like, these are wrong. So, but the thing here's what I got to say about it though. So,
wait, how did the Dasher complete the order?
Well,
without scanning her ID.
So they because they put the whatever it is for minors,
and then they would have to process a return. Yeah, so they left it there, smashed.
No,
right?
they texted her, I got hit by a car.
Yeah.
So so the Dasher kind of messed up in those situations.
Right,
they said the
minor
thing.
Dropped it on the concrete, it shattered and says, "Oh yeah, by the way, I got hit by a car."
Yeah.
But here's the thing though. DoorDash added alcohol delivery to its platform in various states in 2021. With this, it adopted quote unquote, and this is DoorDash, rigorous ID verification prior to checkout and multiple ID checkpoints along the delivery to ensure customers are of legal age. No, you didn't. And as you know, every state has a different law. So pretty much every state has some form of tips training or something like that, like I've spoke on before. So really, like here in Colorado, it's offered, but you're not legal to do it unless you're tip certified. You're not, until you take that class and understand what a drunk is and what to look for, you're not allowed to sell liquor in almost every state. So it doesn't cost much. You don't, if you work at a bar, you get it for free. And if you want, you can just go get it done yourself. It's like $35.
I googled New
I know, in
Jersey. They don't have that in New Jersey.
Right.
It's the
Again,
same with
so
here.
different things. Like you
We
can't
just
put
get in the dash
you can't put a
rams.
dash cam on your windshield, Kim.
No. That
Yeah, I
would be
can.
dumb.
I mean, again, this is why we all need to know our markets. So here in Colorado, they're not busting people for it, but it's one of those things like Uber Teen. I feel like if you get in trouble here in Colorado, I do know the law here, and you do have to be tip certified. So if you get in trouble, realize that, look into the state you're in and make sure you don't need to be certified of tips or anything like that. It doesn't mean you're getting tips. Tips training is just for liquor handling here in Colorado. But then it says Dashers are required to check the receipts by scanning their ID and visually comparing the receipt's appearance to the ID they provided to hand over. That's another thing they do in tips training. So none of you Dashers, if you haven't worked in the service industry or you didn't go get tip certified at a local municipal building that would issue those, like liquor and excise and stuff, none of you are qualified to do that. I mean, you think you are, but you're not. And so they're saying, like everybody goes under the rigorous ID verification. No, you don't.
No.
Multiple ID checkpoints, none. Ensuring their legal age. Yeah, I mean, everybody knows. Okay, I see the birth date, but do you know how to spot holograms? Have you the full training?
Yeah, it's pretty good at it, man.
Yeah, but I mean, but with the training, you have a certification thing here in Colorado that would get me off the hook.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
I believe that they have streamlined that in these states, that certification process.
Well,
I believe they streamlined it to be in-app in the other states.
What it is, Nick, is everybody's an independent contractor, and they've always used this. They've always said, you're an independent contractor. It's up to you to know the rules, not us. Okay. So they do the same thing in Rideshare.
I'm saying that I deliver alcohol and scan the ID and app in California, and we don't have to take a specific class like you're talking about, and it's not illegal.
Right. That's
what I was saying. I think they streamlined it in these states. Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, but
I think they did the class because we have to take a class before doing it.
But DoorDash
on the DoorDash
is doing
app
it in states where it's not allowed, though. Okay. I know in yours it is, but in mine it's not, and I can go do liquor delivery without doing the training. So again, but I mean, it's like Uber Teen. I don't know, you weren't here for that, Nick, but we were talking about how Uber Teen, you can't. That's illegal. Your insurance won't cover you, and even Uber doesn't, and they run commercials for it.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a constant. But then, according to DoorDash, Dashers are not allowed to leave, and this goes to what Nick said, to leave alcohol orders unattended or handed to someone else who cannot produce a valid ID. In these situations, when customers cannot produce a valid ID, the order must be deemed undeliverable, and folks are often charged with an undeliverable fee. So,
as Nick said, how did he leave it?
To me, it seems like, again, I know here something sketchy went on with the driver. I do believe that because he got hit, he got up, and he just said, "I'll just flee the scene with my broken hip." Come on, dude.
Yeah.
But first, let me deliver this order.
And then he says that there was a problem at the ID verification, and then in the app just to get out of it the quickest way. And then all of a sudden, this person's like getting charged with all this stuff. But as I said, I think they deserve it anyways for making the driver wait.
Yeah,
and they should be at the door with your ID when you order an alcohol delivery.
Yeah.
Period.
It's crazy. I don't know. I just hate it when they word things like this, because what they're doing is they're saying our people are so vetted, and they make it sound like, don't worry, we check that for you.
Which it's not true. As Thomas said, it is a legal loophole. Because that's really what it is. Because you remember when we spoke about this,
it is.
And
Thomas
I looked into it.
They just loosened up the law for COVID, and then they don't bring it back.
But they actually didn't. They actually didn't, because at one point we were talking about this on one of the previous calls, and I looked it up. Now I am certified. I did the exam and everything, whatever, in Ontario. In Quebec, there is no test to be done. However, I've done deliveries with Uber, with DoorDash, everything. But when you look up the actual law, it says that you're not supposed to do it unless you're certified.
Yeah.
What? But yet
Yeah.
you can still do it in the app, because for the app, they're like, you're an independent contractor. You should know what your laws are. It's just like with taxes. They're not taking out your taxes for you. You have to declare your taxes, because they're saying you're an independent contractor. You should know what the rules are. So
I would
add
to that, you know, like, you don't carry it. Like, if you own another, like a brick and mortar business, you don't carry it around in your car.
No.
Like, let me see your business license. Oh, like, you just don't. So again, you're assumed that you are correctly qualified to do anything that you are doing on these apps. So again, I guess my point is, take personal responsibility. And like Nick knows, like Kim checked into, like Cheyenne knows she had to do it. I have to do it if I would want to do liquor delivery. These guys don't, but like, just know your state, man, because you are an independent contractor, and these apps won't have your back if you're in a state where they have it out. Because the first thing they look for in a situation is how to not pay anything.
Yep.
And your insurance companies, guys, unless you're carrying hardcore, if the apps aren't paying, your insurance definitely is not on board. So just know what you're doing. You know, I guess that's really all my messages, is just kind of know what you're doing with this stuff. Because if
especially
you don't,
for those that don't have insurance for deliveries, that's a whole other thing.
And really, the people I worry about most isn't Nick or Kim or you. It's a newbie.
Yeah, that doesn't
who just comes on and goes, "Oh, we do liquor delivery too," and has no clue.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I didn't know that was legal. I'll do it. And they just honestly, and I get it. I don't even think it's wrong, but why wouldn't you assume it's legal?
If the app is showing it to you, you would assume that it's legal.
And it is, if you're tip certified in the states you need to be. And it's baffling that document in the states where it needs to be doesn't need to be submitted.
I think any state that's letting them do it illegally is by accident, and they're not meaning to do it, because it would open the app to so many liabilities to let people do things illegally on their app.
But the state isn't involved
without checking a licensing. Yeah, they're not, right? But the app that's letting it do it, like they could get fined. I know they probably could, for allowing people to do it without checking the license.
So it says in your TOS, when you sign your TOS, that you're the one that's responsible for everything. It says it.
I'm
You're
sure.
Well, like a package,
but that doesn't
also
give us
liquor
all
store
liability.
It does. It actually does.
But like a package,
that's why they have to cover the other car if they get hit. If you hit someone, they have to cover the other car. That's why we have to get insurance for our car.
If you live,
they have to cover the other car.
You don't.
Yeah.
Like it's all these laws depend. But here's my point: a packaged liquor store can outsource to Uber because they have and DoorDash, because Drizzly is a license for these apps to be able to work with liquor stores with courier services. Those courier services are supposed to be bonded and insured. Now, Uber and Lyft are bonded and insured for them, but they're not bonded and insured for their independent contractor drivers. So you need to know the laws in your state. That's all I'm saying. Because it will come, if it is a law, it will come down to you. So, but that's all I really had on the DoorDash ripping for tonight. I think it's time to move into some Instacart tipping.
Oh boy. Your favorite app.
Well, this is kind of actually interesting. I found this, I mean, like usually I'd see an article like this and be like, what are they going to say now? But they were pretty honest. I mean, again, it's, I thought it was like one of the grocery magazines, but it looks like it's a Parade. But when it ends up in these weird, like these odd magazines or like USA Today and stuff, I do give them a better read, because I feel like something might have slipped through the cracks and a good writer might have wrote it. And with this one, it's kind of like, gig workers such as food delivery, Uber drivers, Lyft, rely on flexible temporary assignments to earn income. Instacart shoppers are part of this group. They're superheroes who are tasked with doing your grocery shopping and delivering the goods to your home. Even before COVID-19 changed our way of living, getting your groceries fast or fast food delivered was a modern convenience that removed the dread of facing long lines. So the thing about Instacart shoppers, they're not just people who make sure that your bananas don't have brown spots. They actually have a set of skills. They do. I mean, some of them do, but
Some of them do.
like speed, problem solving, precision, and communication. And customers who want a service using these skills should tip them. Or could you get off the couch, burn the fuel in your car, and grab your own groceries? So here's what they come down with, though, that Instacart shoppers perform a service. So yes, they should be tipped. A shopper in Michigan noted, you tip your waitress and hairdresser, so we deserve the same. Gas isn't free. And then Instacart states that shoppers get a flat rate of about $7 per order. So this is where I started seeing, okay, they're being kind of honest here. So, and they keep 100% of their customer tips. But how much they earn depends on the location and how many orders are completed and blah, blah, blah. But one Instacart shopper in St. John's, Florida, who has been doing this for a few years, explained the importance of tipping. And he's quoted here, many customers order off Instacart tipping as low as $2 or not even a tip. I just wanted to inform you that Instacart shoppers are not paid hourly. Instacart only pays shoppers $5 per order. And sometimes we are shopping for 2 or 3 customers at a time, which means $2.50 per customer. We also pay for the gas to deliver the groceries. So we rely on the tips. So then it says, you know, I understand it's not one size fits all, but the consensus among Instacart shoppers on social media groups, forums, and everything was of about 10 to 20% of the total order is a fair tip. You guys agree with that?
Yeah, depending on the
Yeah,
I mean, does that seem about, what do you think, Kim?
for most orders.
I
I mean,
right.
10 is 10 okay, or is it 20?
I think
Well, I
I think
honestly,
10's okay on
most
big
people-
orders.
Yeah, well, honestly, people aren't going to afford 20%. If they're doing like a major grocery haul for like $300 or $400, and you're going to chip your driver 20%, so that's $60 more on top of a $300 order. Like, I just don't think. Do I want it? Absolutely. Do I think I'm worth it? Absolutely. I don't know whether it's realistic for a lot of people.
It's not for a lot of people. There's
Yeah.
a
Well, I
few
mean, I saw
people in
Nick
my
had
area
a
that do it.
I showed it to Kim too. Nick
I
had
know,
a
it was
banger
amazing.
Instacart order. I don't even know what it was. I don't even remember, man. Unless you photoshopped that thing on TikTok, I saw it.
What was it?
I don't know.
Instacart?
It was one of
DoorDash
yours.
order.
It had
That was a
some
DoorDash one.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, that was a $100 tip on a DoorDash grocery order.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it was
but
121.25 plus. It showed
Amazing.
me. It was
What was the order?
one.
Like, was it a big order?
It was 52 items, chop. You know, and it was like 8-mile drive.
That's not bad at all.
$100
Not
tip.
bad. It took
No,
like
it's-
100. It took like an hour and 10 minutes total.
Nice.
yeah, and that, I mean,
Yeah.
that to me is really what it comes down to with the shopping stuff. I mean, my Instacart orders aren't that great, but to be honest, like I always think of it as 60 plus ish minutes at least, you know, I mean, because getting into the store and all that, unless it's like 300, you know, items instead of 50 to 70 or whatever, a zone. But if it's 50 to 70, you're going to take about an hour, and then you got to get places. So, I mean, like, to me, I would put it in terms of time a little more than I do some other calculations. And I don't really care where it's all coming from. I just need to make a certain amount for that amount of time. There's no way I'm doing 3 deliveries that are going to take me 2 hours to do and drop off for $250 base pays and no tip. Like, I'm not working for $750 for 2 hours.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but then Kim had mentioned this, and they're talking about it here too. Shoppers need, and I was giving them a little credit too for being transparent, but it says shoppers need to have a 4.7 rating to get batch prioritization. I don't do it enough, but my rating's good enough. Is that all it's based on?
No,
No.
you get like a certain amount of points in a quarter. 2,000.
I was like, because if I'm like doing well, I don't see nothing. So
No,
No.
that's not all it
Yeah.
is.
But
Yeah.
thanks for playing.
but I mean, we also do have to
It
remember.
actually
and
sucks
again, it's,
way more than that.
yeah, I was gonna say it's not mentioned in here, but like we also have to remember that when Kim's saying like take a $300 order, do 20%, that's 60. Remember that $300 order is probably only 225 worth of groceries
Yeah.
because of upcharging the fees, the taxes, everything. Like so they're already off. They know this is $200 worth of groceries. It's costing me $3 through the app. Now I got to tip Kim 60. I mean, you're almost doubling it. Like when it's all said and done,
Pretty
you're
rough.
pretty much doubling your grocery bill at a time when groceries are through the roof.
Yeah.
It just,
It's almost like they should go get their groceries on their own.
Exactly.
you know, and then obviously, you know, there was this Uber Eats and Costco thing we talked about last week. And I was saying, like, I wonder how Instacart and Uber. And I was wondering how Instacart is, or how Instacart's benefiting from it. I'm sure it's just money. But as soon as it was announced, Instacart, yesterday, Instacart fell 6% in trading. It's been going down and now they both have been going down since they announced the merger, which is crazy. Like you'd think somebody saw what I saw and thought Uber's going to benefit more from this, or Instacart's going to benefit more, and you do it that way. But instead, they both went. Like, everybody's like, let's get out of this grenade.
But is it both of them that went down, or is it just Instacart since Uber added Costco?
Well, that's pretty much the last thing we're going to get to here is the new Uber things, and there's 6 of them. That was the only one that I even saw that was interesting because oops, wrong article. Because the other ones have been there forever. So I really am confused. I hate it when they do this. I just hate it when they do this. But so there's 6 new perks on the Uber app. And they are Uber Shuttle. That's been there for 5 years. So that's new though. That's a new feature, but it's been there for 5 years in half of the country. And it actually says shuttle in the Uber app. So you touch it and you go to an event, and it has always been able to take 14 to 55 seats. Guess what they just announced? The shuttles will be able to take 14 to 55 people. Okay. Uber Caregiver. Users who rely on caregivers for support in their day-to-day lives can add them directly to their profile starting this summer. This will allow caregivers to book rides for people so this is a caregiver company just calling Uber for a normal driver. If this is truly Uber Caregiver, why don't they just allow, at least for these type people who need caregiving? I think it should be for everybody, but why not allow them to favorite a driver too? Because if they need care and they meet somebody they like, wouldn't that be a lot better for them?
Yeah, for sure.
Nick, do you do catering on Uber Eats?
I don't have Uber Eats. Uber won't let me on.
Oh, I thought you did for some reason.
No.
But then the big one is Costco. And this is kind of weird. So Uber said, Uber, and this is anywhere Costco is, Japan, it's in other countries too now. So Uber said Costco will be available as an on-demand option within Uber Eats starting yesterday. So it's now active. And here's the thing. Users can order products from Costco even if they are not members. But Uber said they will save between 15 to 20% compared to non-members. So they're taking the already markup and are marking it up another 15 to 20% if you're not a member and made a deal with Costco. They're probably getting them like 5%. I mean, this is it's crazy how everybody dips their hand in just to keep jacking up these prices of what you like.
Wait, I'm
go
confused.
To the store and go, wait, what?
I'm confused though, because with so Costco used to be on Corner Shop. And then when Uber took over Corner Shop, Costco was the last store to switch over to Uber, because I've done Uber orders at Costco, like right here.
Yeah.
But the price is the exact same price because they're a member. So they're saying what if you're
You
not
don't need to be a member anymore, but the cost is more.
Okay, well, yeah, that's fine. They're
So
not
if
a
I don't
member.
like, I have a Costco
Why would they get the
membership.
same price as me who pays a yearly fee?
That's my point. I have a Costco membership, but my problem with it is 15 to 20% on the Uber platform probably
That's a lot.
means jacked up prices, 15 to 20%, some more fees. Like, it's not a true that.
That's a lot.
Right. I mean, to me, it should.
Might
I
as
don't
well get a
know.
membership.
I mean, it gets so everything just gets so diluted and sketchy. I feel like with the way that this is them talking about how proud they are of these new services, and I read them like, really? Like,
Wow.
you're proud of this? Because, like, I think it's great somebody can get a non-member can use it, but the reason to go to Costco is to get bulk and save. So if
Yes.
you're going to pay 20% more, you're just paying what it is in the store in the beginning.
Exactly. You're no longer saving. But I think some people won't see that because they'll see the bulk and they'll be like, oh, I'm a big family. I never wanted a Costco membership, but at least now I can actually purchase things at Costco, not realizing that it's so much more.
And here's
Because
another.
not everyone's going to know about the markup.
Here's another.
brains. Like,
here's another stupid feature they're bragging about. Uber X Share. So yesterday they launched as well. Users schedule a shared ride in advance. This feature will save users around 25% compared to a typical ride on Uber X. The company said riders can schedule trips as soon as 10 minutes in advance. The scheduled Uber X or rides get to your house, they pick you up. You will not know, but you will have at least one, if not two more people sharing the ride, and you're only saving 25%. So basically, again, it's just Uber Pool. This
is so weird.
This is
so
exactly
this is
what
like
Uber
the
Pool
cabs
was
in New York.
You already did this for 10 years. It's not new.
They just redesigned it.
They didn't even redesign it. That's how it worked before when I did it.
That's so weird.
And then Uber One. There's two more. Uber One for students. Uber will offer its Uber One memberships at a discount for college student. The program costs $9.99 per month, but it will be $4.99 per month. The company said students will also get access to free items and special deals such as daily discounts on Taco Bell and Domino's and Starbucks. First of all, when I open the Uber app, and that is the one that on the rare occasion I use Uber Eats. It already has it. That's the home page is the discounts. They're already there. Yeah. You don't need to pay $9.99 a month, $4.99 a month to see them. They're there anyway. I see them every day.
I use Doordash and I pay for the Dash Pass, and I think it pays for itself. Because they mess up on the food so much.
and then here's the sixth one, you guys, and this is the worst of them all because it's just so stupid. Uber Eats lists. So, allows users to curate and share lists of restaurants and to-go spots. The company shared examples like date night desserts or toddler approved food.
Huh?
So
what?
I don't understand. I'm like, I don't get it.
So when you open the app, you can I could share a list with you, Kim, and say, look at these are all toddler approved places.
So is it you share with a specific person or it's just out there? Because if it's just out there, I can actually see the benefit of
No. It's what you create. Because these are the examples. So like if I create one for me and I think other people might benefit from it, I can share it with them.
Yes, but do you just put it out there, or do you have to share it with a specific person?
I think it's like everything through it. Like I can only you hit share and it's like text and it's like Cheyenne.
Okay. I can kind of see a benefit for that,
really?
Especially for because think about it, like a mom that's going out with their children, and they're like, because I see it a lot in my mommy groups. What's a family-friendly restaurant? What's a restaurant where I can bring my children? Or what's a restaurant that does not have children? Like sometimes they're like, I'm going out with my husband. I do not want a child around me. Where can I go? So I can see how that could be a benefit for some people. Or like, I'm gluten-free. Where can I go that just has
I would Google it before I'd ever go to Uber.
So, but to me, this seems like a way for them to gain more traction on their app. Maybe I'm thinking advertising wise. So when you think advertising wise, and I used to do this with my own business back in the day, that you use your Facebook, right? So you run a contest and you say, hey, $25 gift card, but you have to share it with 5 other people, and then the other person has to, and like it snowballs, but yet your name gets out there because they're following you, and now you have all these other people who are now interested in this $25. So it's like the same concept. So Steve, you tell me and Cheyenne about these restaurants. Okay, great, we love them. Now we tell other people about these restaurants, and now they're growing bigger because people are talking about these restaurants that people are going to.
Yeah.
Did you just
So
follow that?
I would counter with Google, chat AI, Reddit.
Well, chat AI is not up to date, right?
Or ChatGPT. Like, yeah, you're right. It's not up to date. But I mean, like
That one's not
Reddit
up to
and
date.
Google,
You're
I mean,
paying for
wouldn't you get a better result anyway? Because you're going to
You
read
would get
about
a better
really what you
result.
want to know.
Yes, you would get a better result with Google, but I feel like they're maybe trying to see how they can get a piece of that real estate, a piece of that market. Like,
Okay.
I want to be the go-to source now.
Well, regardless,
because I
that's
have
their
that
6
option.
new features after a losing quarter. And they were proud, very proud about it. And to me, all they did was dust some things off. You know, they can just restart up that
rename
crap
them.
that didn't never work before. Like those things. Remember those 6 things that never worked? Yeah, just let's launch those again.
Isn't this what they always do though? Like, isn't this the same thing that they did with Uber Connect and packages and all that stuff?
Yeah, but this is their like quarterly call. This is supposed to be like, this is when they normally lie about flying cars and autonomous, and now they're talking about like lists and Uber share. Like, so I wouldn't feel right if we had Felon on the show and I did not ask him about his experience with Prop 22.
I like it. I don't really view it as anything but extra money at the end of the week, but I think I'm going to start experimenting with like taking crappy Instacart orders, because I think any Instacart order would pay well with the time it takes and the money they have to pay me. So
Right, because
never
it's
thought
only
but I don't want to take advantage of it.
because it's only against the base pay, right? Or it's supposed to be anyway. It should not be against
Yeah, it
your
is.
tip.
It's only against
Right.
the base pay.
So is the base pay higher than on Doordash and whatever than like the rest of the country sees? Because it should be, because
It
they're going to
seems
be
that they
paying it
try to
anyway.
make it. It seems like they try to estimate like how much it might be, and adjust the base pay accordingly. But it's never enough. I always get money at the end of the week, more than likely. And even when I cherry pick practically every time I'm on the apps, and I don't take anything without a tip, and I still get money, like so much money at the end of the week, and I don't even pay attention to it. So I'm not
But like, what
manipulating
is
it. I'm
minimum
not being
wage? What is
slow.
minimum wage where you are?
I think it's like, I don't know. I think the amount that I get is $18.20. So would be the 120% of minimum wage, but I'm not sure.
Okay, so right, because it's $16 to $20 in California, depending on where you are. So, but
yeah, I think
even
it's
if it's
$17.50 where I'm at, or
okay,
something.
so and then you get the more. But so in my book,
120%.
here's my question: why wouldn't DoorDash just make every base pay $9 so it looks better? Because they're going to pay it anyway for an active hour. They're going to have to pay you $18. So
I was actually shocked the other day. There was a $9 base pay on a 2-mile order that took like 10 minutes, and that's the only time I've ever seen base pay that high. And it was like a $12.50 order, and like I was like, $9 base pay. Why? It makes no sense. That was the only time I've ever seen a base pay like incredibly high for no reason. So I assumed that was a direct pay order and something like they thought it was going to take a lot longer for some reason.
See, I would honestly think that they would make everyone $9 and use it as PR, and let people, because they love confusion. Let people like you say, dude, I get $9 base pays, and let the rest of the country go, no, you don't. Nobody does. Like let it. That's what they like, and they'd get good PR out of it. Like, why don't
the
they
reason
just
why
they're going to be paying it? So
Prop 22 worked for so long and didn't like affect the rest of the country so bad. It was because they passed on most of the cost directly to the consumer as a service fee. It shows up in your taxes no matter whether you have the dash pass or not. So like that's why they were against it, Prop 22 at first. And then they started rallying for Prop 22 at the end, because when they realized they're just going to pass it on to their customer, they're probably going to make more money out of it from passing the service fee on. So yeah, and you have to like qualify for the medical stuff, and I doubt most people qualify for the medical stuff. So I bet they are banking most of that service fee. Yeah. So they should model most laws after Prop 22, because it's just directly making the customer pay for it. So that's making it a luxury service, I think.
So the customer's service fee is a lot higher?
It's 5% on pretty much all orders, on top of taxes.
Wow.
Unless you have the dash passes, and then it's reduced.
See, but then, so there's the question though. And that's, I guess that's about what I was, NGB's in here. He's in Seattle. So we know New York and Seattle, or New York doesn't allow you to tip from a computer on DoorDash at all, even after.
Exactly.
Through the app, you have to do it after. You can't do it before. So it makes me wonder, in California, where they're doing the same thing, why aren't they doing it there too and saying,
See,
hey,
New York, if I had New York thing, I wouldn't mind taking everything, because theirs is like double mine. They asked for too much. I think they asked for too much, too quick, and had no means for the company to pay for it. You know, I had no means for them to pass it on to the customer. I had no means for and then that's why instantly everywhere their base pay dropped to $2.
Yeah.
Instantly, right when that law went into effect, you know what I mean? It doesn't take a rocket scientist
Good luck getting on
to figure out what happened. Yeah, exactly. So that's probably diluted the market too, because now they got to pay all their drivers that are currently on this much, and it's probably a money hole right now for all those companies. But they got to keep it going because it's the biggest city, one of the biggest cities, you know. So I bet they're all losing money in New York.
Yeah, and NGB in Seattle is saying that we don't get the medical component, but we get the sick days. And then next week we will absolutely be talking about Massachusetts. I know, Kim, you guys touched on it a little last night, but there's even already at this point, there's already a lot more to it, because they're using the word unions, and it's very W-2. And they're also talking about including food delivery platforms in it. So next week, we have one awesome guest. I'm not going to give it away. Should I give it away?
Nah. Make it suspenseful.
You guys don't get to know, but we have a great guest that you guys are going to love. Next week, and I might try and bring Dana on from Boston too, because this stuff's getting pretty quick. It's moving pretty quick, and it's moving towards a W-2 very quickly. And that's it. They're actually finally using those words. They're using this. You guys are employees. Fact. No more ifs, ands, or buts about it. So
sounds terrible.
So, guys, that's a wrap for the week. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, everybody, for watching live or on the replay. See you back here next week. And until then, earn safe, earn smart. And as Jason stole from me last night, don't be a dick.